I'll have the financial advice with a side of sparkling water, Marcus Reynolds said, not bothering to look up from his phone. Sarah Chen paused, pen hovering over her notepad. After 8 hours on her feet at La Belle Époque, Manhattan's most exclusive restaurant, this was exactly the arrogant customer she didn't need. I'm sorry, sir. I don't believe that's on our menu. Marcus finally looked up, caught off guard by the composed young woman with intelligent eyes assessing him with barely concealed disdain. It was a joke, he said, tapping his platinum card. But since you mentioned it, where would you invest $1 million in today's market? Sarah's colleagues had warned her about him. Marcus Reynolds, 33, tech wonderkin turned investment mogul worth over $7 billion. Honestly, she met his gaze. I'd diversify 40% into emerging market ETFs focusing on sustainable energy, 30% in mid-cap value stocks currently undervalued due to market overcorrection, 20% in municipal bonds for the tax advantages, and keep 10% liquid for opportunistic acquisitions. The half-smile froze on Marcus's face. That's surprisingly specific. Did you memorize that from somewhere? No, sir. Just an opinion. Now about your actual order. Wait. Marcus leaned forward. Explain the emerging market rationale. I have customers waiting. They can wait. I'm curious. Sit, 5 minutes. After getting permission from the maitre d', Sarah reluctantly sat. This is inappropriate. So was your surprisingly sophisticated investment advice. Where did that come from? Finance major? Something like that. Columbia, NYU, does it matter? Marcus laughed. Fair enough. The sustainable energy angle is interesting, but why emerging markets specifically? Sarah hesitated briefly. Western markets are oversaturated with green investments, creating a bubble effect. Developing nations offer more significant growth potential with their expanding energy needs and fewer regulatory hurdles. Their governments provide tax incentives that boost ROI by at least 4% annually. Marcus's eyes widened. Who are you? Just a waitress with an interest in finance. Now, can I take your actual order? Ribeye, rare, truffle mac on the side, and your name. Sarah Chen. Throughout his meal, Marcus found his attention drawn to her. When she brought his check, he added a $5,000 tip to his $300 meal. This is excessive. Consider it a consulting fee, and I'd like to continue our conversation sometime. Professionally. I don't think that would be appropriate. He pulled out a business card and wrote his private number. When you change your mind, call me. I have a proposition for someone with your unexpected talents. If, she corrected. Trust me, it's when. Later that night, Sarah leaned against the employee locker room wall, staring at Marcus's card. $5,000, the exact amount she needed for next semester's tuition. Her phone buzzed with an email. Her financial aid request had been denied. Without that aid, even with the tip, she wouldn't make it through the semester. Before she could reconsider, she dialed his number. That was faster than I expected. I'd like to hear about that proposition. Excellent. My office tomorrow at 3. I have class until 2, then work at 5. Class? His tone sharpened. Where? NYU part-time MBA program. Interesting. My office at 3. What exactly is this proposition? I could use someone with your financial instincts. My consultants are too embedded in conventional wisdom. You think differently. The compensation would make waiting tables unnecessary. If this is anything inappropriate, it's business, he cut her off. Whatever you may have heard about me, I don't mix business with pleasure. At precisely 2:59 p.m., Sarah stepped onto the 87th floor of Anderson Capital headquarters. The receptionist looked her up and down, taking in her simple black pencil skirt and white blouse. Marcus's chief of staff, David Mercer, escorted her through glass-walled offices to the corner office with spectacular Manhattan views. Sarah, Marcus stood. Thank you for coming. Your chief of staff doesn't approve of this meeting. Mercer doesn't approve of most things. You look different today, more guarded. I'm always genuine, just selectively expressive. Marcus laughed. I did some research. Community college, then waitressing, now part-time at NYU. A solid path, but it doesn't explain your market knowledge. So who are you really? Does it matter? You said you had a business proposition. Marcus nodded. I need fresh perspective on investment opportunities. Specifically, these. A screen revealed pre-IPO opportunities in emerging markets. Sarah studied the display, then began typing, pulling up additional data. These three have solid fundamentals. These two are overvalued. And this one is a sophisticated fraud. Explain. The reported growth curve is too smooth. Real growth has variations. And if you cross-reference their reported manufacturing capacity with energy consumption, the numbers don't add up. They're reporting production levels requiring at least 40% more energy than they're using. Marcus leaned in. How did you catch that? Pattern recognition. I've seen similar discrepancies before. Where? Sarah stepped back. It's a common fraudulent pattern. Not common enough that my entire team missed it. You just saved me from a potential $100 million mistake. Don't go back to the restaurant. I want to hire you as a consultant. Exclusive contract, your own office. 7-figure compensation. You can't be serious. I'm never anything but serious about talent. You have something my team doesn't. The offer was like a dream. But at what cost? I can't. Why not? It's complicated. Uncomplicated. Sarah looked away. I can't be publicly associated with Anderson Capital or any financial institution. Why not? That's personal. Not if you're going to work for me. Sarah decided on partial truth. I made some enemies in the financial world. It's better if I stay invisible. What if I guarantee your anonymity? Contract under a pseudonym, private office, no public association. The rational part of her screamed this was terrible. But the analyst who had been buried for 3 years was awakening. I'll need everything in writing, ironclad confidentiality agreements, and I work remotely. Marcus smiled. So that's a yes. It's a conditional, maybe. 2 weeks into consulting for Anderson Capital, Sarah was finally relaxing. The work was exhilarating. Marcus had kept his word about anonymity, assigning her cases under the pseudonym CM Consulting. Today, she had a meeting with Marcus and his executive team about a potential acquisition. The meeting proceeded efficiently until Marcus asked, "What about you, Sarah? You've been quiet." "I have concerns." "Of course you do," Mercer muttered. Sarah approached the screen. Their algorithm isn't as proprietary as they claim. What they're really selling is the data set, but even that has issues. These growth patterns suggest data manipulation. That's a serious accusation, the legal head frowned. Pagination artifacts in their user engagement data. When you auto-generate reports, page breaks create subtle patterns. But these reports show different patterns comparing monthly to quarterly data, suggesting reports weren't generated from the same source. "They're cooking the books," Marcus said. "This is absurd." Mercer shook his head. "Who exactly vetted this consultant?" "I did," Marcus said flatly. "With all due respect, we know nothing about Ms. Chen's background. She could be working for a competitor." "That's enough, David." "No. You brought in this waitress and suddenly she's overruling our entire department. Something doesn't add up." "Who are you, really?" "Someone who sees patterns others miss." "Convenient." Mercer pulled out a file. "I took the liberty of running a deeper background check. Sarah Chen only exists as of 3 years ago. Before that, nothing. She appeared out of nowhere." The room erupted in murmurs. "Meeting adjourned," Marcus said. "Everyone out except you two." When they were alone, Marcus turned to Mercer. "Never undermine me like that again. Get out." After Mercer left, Marcus asked, "Is what he said true? Did you appear 3 years ago?" "Yes." "Who were you before Sarah Chen?" "I can't tell you." "Can't or won't?" "Both." "Are you running from something illegal?" "No, I never broke any laws. Are you in danger?" "It's not like that." Marcus stood. "Then what is it like?" "I've given you everything you asked for. What more do you need to trust me?" "It's not about trust, Marcus." "The hell it isn't. You've spent 3 years hiding. At some point, you need to decide if you're going to live looking over your shoulder or face whatever you're running from." The words hit hard, sparking anger. "That's easy for you to say. You've never lost everything in a single day. Never had your life stolen. Never been betrayed by—" She stopped. "Betrayed by whom?" "I'm leaving. My consulting agreement has a termination clause." "I know who you are," Marcus said quietly. Sarah froze. Victoria Chen Wright, former senior analyst at Blackwood Financial, specialized in emerging markets. Considered a rising star until 3 years ago when you were implicated in an insider trading scheme. You disappeared before the SEC investigation concluded. How long have you known? I suspected from our first conversation. Background check confirmed it last week. Last week? You've known for a week and didn't say anything? I was waiting for you to trust me enough to tell me yourself. So this was all a trap? If that was my plan, I could have done it already. I want the truth. The real story. Sarah felt cornered. Why would you believe anything other than the official story? Because I've watched you work. You have an ethical compass that doesn't align with fraud. And the Victoria Wright case never sat right with me. Hope flickered. Dangerous and fragile. The damage is done. My reputation destroyed, unless the truth comes out. Tell me what really happened, Victoria. The sound of her real name broke something inside her. I was set up by my fiancé, Robert Blackwood. Blackwood? The founder's son? Yes, we were engaged. I discovered irregularities in Asian market accounts suggesting insider trading. The trail led to Robert and his father. They were using advanced knowledge for personal investments through shell companies. And you confronted them? Stupidly, yes. Robert apologized, promised to fix it, asked me to keep quiet. I believed him. The next morning, the SEC raided our offices. All evidence pointed to me. My signature on documents I'd never seen. Transactions through my credentials. Offshore accounts in my name. A perfect frame. Robert appeared devastated. His father vowed no one was above the law. They froze my accounts, seized my assets, spread rumors. By the time I realized what was happening, it was too late. So you ran. I disappeared, changed my name, started over with nothing. I wasn't guilty, but I couldn't prove it. Why didn't you fight back? With what evidence? They erased anything implicating them and fabricated evidence against me. It was my word against the Blackwood Empire. Marcus turned to the window. What if we could prove your innocence? Victoria laughed bitterly. After 3 years? Impossible. Maybe not. Financial criminals are creatures of habit. If they framed you, they've likely done it to others. What are you suggesting? Investigate quietly. Find their pattern. Build a case. Why would you risk your company for someone you barely know? Because I've spent my career watching people like the Blackwoods abuse power while talented people like you pay the price. And because you've shown more integrity and brilliance than most people I've known for years. The sincerity disarmed her. It's too dangerous. For whom? I've made my career by taking calculated risks. Besides, Blackwood Financial is a competitor using unethical tactics. Taking them down serves justice and business. Victoria felt something she hadn't in years. Possibility. If we do this, it has to be airtight. No loose ends. And no one can know? Agreed. Partners? Victoria hesitated briefly before taking his hand. Partners. For the next 2 weeks, Victoria and Marcus worked in secret, building their case. They converted a secure room in Marcus's penthouse into investigation headquarters, walls covered with timelines and records. I found something, Marcus announced one evening. He spread documents before her. 3 more cases with similar patterns. All talented analysts who uncovered irregularities, all suddenly implicated in fraud, all professionally destroyed. Victoria studied the cases. I knew 2 of these people. I never believed they were guilty. Same signature methods as your case. Falsified authorizations, manufactured evidence, consistent timing. This proves a pattern, but not that the Blackwoods are responsible. This might. Marcus pulled up an email. My team intercepted communications between Robert and their compliance officer discussing containment procedures for internal threats. Still circumstantial. We need concrete evidence linking them to fraudulent transactions. We need an insider. What about your former assistant, James Chen? How do you know about James? Background research. He's in the London office now. Still with Blackwood, but isolated, effectively demoted. Passed over for promotion 3 times. James was loyal to me. He never believed the accusations, which is probably why they sidelined him. He might help us. Or report back to Robert immediately. Marcus's private phone rang. It was Mercer. Robert Blackwood just called. He wants to meet tomorrow. Says he has a mutually beneficial proposition. Victoria froze. Did he say what kind? Marcus asked. A potential partnership on Asian market expansion. He specifically mentioned your recent interest in those markets. The same markets Victoria had been researching. It couldn't be coincidence. Schedule it. My office, 2 p.m. After the call ended, Victoria whispered, "They know. Somehow they know I'm working with you. They suspect but don't know. If they had proof, Robert wouldn't be making social calls. This is what I feared. I need to disappear again. Stop!" Marcus stepped into her path, hands on her shoulders. "Running is what they want. I'm not some junior analyst they can intimidate. You don't understand what they're capable of. I understand exactly. What you don't understand is what I'm capable of when someone threatens people I care about." The simple declaration stunned her. "Why are you doing this, Marcus, really?" "Because when you walked into my life, you were the first real thing I'd encountered in years. Everyone wants something from me. You challenged me, saw through me. Despite everything, you still have more integrity than anyone I know." He paused. "Also, I really hate losing." Despite everything, Victoria laughed. "So what's your plan?" "Make him think I'm interested while gathering intelligence. Meanwhile, you'll monitor remotely. You know Robert better than anyone. You'll recognize his tells." The next day, Robert Blackwood arrived at Anderson Capital precisely at 2 p.m. From the monitoring room, Victoria watched through one-way glass. "Marcus, appreciate you making time," Robert said warmly. "Impressive operation you've built here. What brings Blackwood Financial to my door?" "Our firms have complementary strengths. Your tech innovations, our established Asian market presence. Seems like a natural fit. Interesting timing. We've only recently begun exploring those markets. News travels fast. Word is you've been making remarkably astute moves in territories typically challenging for newcomers." Victoria tensed. "Too specific to be coincidental. I have good people," Marcus replied. "Indeed. I've heard you recently acquired quite the analyst. Someone with unusual insight." "He's fishing," Victoria whispered into the microphone. "He suspects but doesn't know." "We're always recruiting talent," Marcus said. "Speaking of talent, do you remember that unfortunate business with Victoria Wright a few years back?" The direct mention sent shock through Victoria. Marcus raised an eyebrow. "Vaguely. Analyst involved in some trading scandal. Senior analyst. Brilliant woman. We were engaged, actually. Devastating when we discovered what she'd been doing. She disappeared before the investigation concluded. Essentially an admission of guilt. Or self-preservation," Marcus suggested. "Your firm has a certain reputation for handling internal issues decisively." A flicker crossed Robert's face before his mask returned. "We believe in accountability, as I'm sure you do. Absolutely, when applied to the right people." The conversation had shifted, meanings layered beneath innocent exchanges. "He's worried," Victoria said. "Change tactics," Marcus redirected. "I noticed Blackwood has experienced significant turnover in your analytics department. Unusual for a firm that values loyalty," Robert hesitated. "Restructuring. Standard business practice, of course. Though losing 4 senior analysts in 18 months seems costly, the industry evolves. Some adapt, others don't. But we're not here to discuss HR. I'm proposing a joint venture in the Vietnam tech sector." As Robert outlined the proposal, Victoria analyzed it. Spotting hidden traps. Clauses giving Blackwood access to Anderson Capital's proprietary algorithms and client lists. "It's a data mining operation," she told Marcus. "The partnership is covered to access your systems." After Robert left, Marcus joined her in the monitoring room. "He's definitely suspicious," Victoria said. "The way he brought up my case so directly. He's testing whether you know who I am." "Agreed. But he's not certain. The proposal is obviously a trap. Then we give him what he wants. Accept the proposal with modifications limiting their access. Then use the partnership to access their systems. That's incredibly risky. High risk, high reward. We need internal documents to prove they framed you. This gives us a legitimate way in. Even if we could access their systems, what are we looking for? They would have purged evidence years ago. No one purges everything. Think. Where would evidence be?" Victoria closed her eyes. "The compliance department maintains untouchable archives. Regulatory requirement. And Robert's father kept a private server for sensitive communications. Could we access either? The archives, possibly. The private server, impossible without physical access to their headquarters. What if we had physical access? Blackwood Financial's annual charity gala is next month. Every major player will be there. If we accept this partnership, we'll naturally be invited. It's perfect cover. You want me to attend an event filled with people who know exactly who I am? Not as Victoria Wright, as Sarah Chen, mysterious financial consultant who never appears in public. It's been 3 years. You've changed your appearance, your style. People see what they expect to see. The plan was audacious. Yet Victoria couldn't deny its potential. It's a massive gamble. Life is a gamble. But for what it's worth, I'm betting on you. The Blackwood Financial Charity Gala transformed the Metropolitan Museum into a showcase of wealth and power. Victoria, now polished as Sarah Chen, stood at the crowd's edge, fighting the urge to flee. "You look stunning," Marcus murmured, "and completely unrecognizable. I feel like I'm walking into the lion's den. The plan is solid. 20 minutes of mingling, then I create a distraction while you slip away." "There's Robert," Victoria whispered, with William Blackwood himself. "Let them watch." "It's all part of the show," William Blackwood approached. "Marcus Reynolds, glad you could make it. And this must be Ms. Chen we've heard so much about." Victoria met his gaze directly. "Mr. Blackwood, your reputation precedes you." "As does yours, my dear, though finding information about you proved remarkably challenging, almost as if you appeared out of nowhere." "The best talents often emerge from unexpected places," Marcus interjected. Robert's gaze remained fixed on Victoria. "You seem familiar, Ms. Chen. Have we met before?" "I don't believe so. I would remember, perhaps at a conference. I avoid public events generally. Tonight is an exception for Marcus." Robert glanced between them. How fortunate he is. The mayor's arrival interrupted them, drawing William away. Robert lingered. "You know, you remind me of someone I used to know. Someone very special. I get that a lot." "No, you're quite unique, as was she." "If you'll excuse us, Robert," Marcus said. "I promised to introduce Sarah to potential clients." "Of course. We'll have plenty of time to become acquainted through our partnership." After circulating for 30 minutes, ensuring they were seen, Marcus checked his watch. "It's time. You remember the route?" Victoria nodded. "Service elevator to 42nd floor. North corridor to executive suite. If anything feels wrong, abort immediately. Your safety matters more than evidence. 20 minutes, not a second longer." Victoria slipped away toward service areas. The elevator ascended to the executive level, dimly lit with cameras positioned exactly where expected. William Blackwood's private office was locked behind an unmarked door. Victoria entered the key code, holding her breath until the lock disengaged. Inside, she moved to the bookcase hiding the server room entrance. The hidden door opened, revealing servers humming quietly. Victoria plugged in the specialized drive Jack had provided. As the drive worked, she searched the office. In the bottom drawer, hidden beneath files, she found a locked metal box. Using lock-picking skills acquired in hiding, she opened it to find USB drives labeled only with dates. One date jumped out, 3 days before her world collapsed. The day she had confronted Robert. Victoria pocketed the drive, then checked extraction status. 90% complete with 7 minutes remaining. Suddenly, voices in the corridor. "Blackwood wants security reports tonight. He's convinced Reynolds is up to something." The footsteps paused outside the door. Victoria held her breath. The handle turned. A commotion erupted somewhere, shouting, breaking glass. Marcus's distraction, right on cue. What the hell was that? The handle released as guards responded. Victoria remained motionless until footsteps receded, then retrieved the completed extraction and erased all evidence. The journey back was tense but uneventful. She found Marcus at the center of attention, apologizing to a server covered in champagne. "Mission accomplished," she whispered when she reached him. Relief flooded his eyes. "Thank God. Let's get out of here." As they moved toward the exit, Robert intercepted them. "Leaving so soon?" "Early morning tomorrow," Marcus explained. Robert nodded, eyes on Victoria. "It was truly a pleasure, Ms. Chen. I have the strangest feeling we've met before." In another life, perhaps. Something flickered in Robert's eyes. Perhaps. Though in my experience, people don't change as much as they think. Beneath new appearances, the essential nature remains. "Some people change profoundly," Victoria countered, "especially after betrayal. Robert's grip on her hand tightened imperceptibly. An interesting observation. Christina has remarkable insight, Marcus intervened, using his hand to release Robert's grip. In the car, Victoria finally breathed. That was too close. But worth it? We'll see. She leaned back, exhausted. If what I think is on here is actually there. Marcus took her hand. Whatever happens, tonight you stood your ground. That counts for something. The warmth of his touch broke through her composure. 3 years of running and now this moment of possibility. Thank you for believing in me when no one else did. I believe in what I see. From the moment you gave me that advice in the restaurant, I saw someone extraordinary. Without overthinking, Victoria leaned across and kissed him. The kiss was gentle, then deepened with 3 years of pent-up emotion. I've wanted to do that for weeks, Marcus admitted. So have I. But I was preoccupied with corporate espionage. Marcus laughed. Fair point, though I hope your schedule might be clearing up soon. Let's see what we found first. The evidence exceeded their highest hopes. Emails between Robert and William discussing how to handle the Victoria situation. Instructions to fabricate evidence. Communications with SEC contacts. Most damning was an audio recording of Robert's conversation with his father the day after Victoria had confronted him. She knows too much. The Asian accounts, the shell companies, all of it. I'll handle Victoria. By the time I'm finished, her credibility will be destroyed. After 3 years, Victoria finally had vindication. Working with Marcus's legal team, they assembled the evidence, presenting it simultaneously to the SEC, FBI, and financial journalists. The fallout was spectacular. Blackwood Financial's stock plummeted. Robert and William were indicted on multiple counts. Former employees came forward with corroborating stories. 3 months after the gala, Victoria stood in Marcus's office watching news coverage of Robert Blackwood being escorted from his home in handcuffs. How does it feel? Marcus asked. Surreal. For so long, this seemed impossible. And now I can be Victoria Wright again, she smiled. Though I've grown attached to certain aspects of Sarah Chen's life, such as her job, for one. Her boss is quite impressive when he's not being arrogant. Is that so? I hear he's completely reformed. Humbled by a certain financial wizard who served him the best investment advice he ever received, Victoria laughed freely. Then perhaps Sarah should stay on as a consultant. For professional reasons, of course. Marcus's expression turned serious. What about Victoria Wright? What does she want now that she has her life back? Victoria considered. Her professional reputation was being restored. Her name cleared. She could return to the financial world independently, but looking at Marcus, she realized her priorities had shifted. She wants to build something new, something honest. With someone who saw her value when she had nothing. Marcus's smile was radiant as he pulled her into his arms. I think that can be arranged. As their lips met, Victoria felt the final pieces of her fractured life falling into place. From a chance encounter born of arrogance and pride through danger and vindication, they had found in each other something neither expected. Truth in a world of deception, strength in shared vulnerability, and love that survived the ultimate test. The broken pieces of Victoria Wright had not only been restored but transformed into something stronger, more resilient, and infinitely more precious. And as Marcus held her close, she knew with absolute certainty that neither would ever face life's battles alone again.